Good afternoon, everybody. What's up? Okay, I got energy today. I love it. So I went to the gym this morning and it was great. Changed my routine and it's been great every single morning. If you guys can hear me, let me know. This is your weekly training. We're live in lots of places right now. We're live on YouTube. We are live on LinkedIn. We're live on Facebook. We're live in the group and everything is going to go back into our group. So if you guys want to check out our group, let me know. It's called Six Figures Short-Term Rentals for Real Estate Investors, right? This is what we do inside Creative STR Wealth. We help buy and hold investors create wealth and increase cash flow through high-yielding vacation rentals. How many of you want to find out what truly works in the business and how to scale your portfolio today? Please drop me a comment, leave me some love in any of these social medias that we're playing live and live streaming today. So over the last 3.5, 4 years, we've made a lot of mistakes, lots of them. And I'm going to talk about some of my mistakes today, okay? And as you guys know, our goal for the group is to empower you as a real estate investor, especially buy and hold investors, to help and build your portfolio through high income producing short-term rentals, right? And the way most people do short-term rentals is wrong, including the gurus, right? We are actually operators. We operate lots of short-term rentals. We're launching investment platforms to buy more. So I love to teach you guys some of our tips and tricks. My name is George Salas, and this is how to build your short-term rental portfolio. So today is going to be a very high level. I might go into some details, but it's going to be a very high level training. And if you have questions, if you actually have any comments, please let me know in the comments. We'll love to answer your questions because I'm going to go through all these details very, very fast, okay? So first of all, what is the short-term rental portfolio, right? It might sound kind of tricky or very complex or like, oh my God, it might sound like outside of your mind. But in essence, a portfolio is simply multiple streams of short-term rental income from multiple properties. The goal here is to make money while you sleep. The goal is to have multiple streams of income. Because if you just have one, something might happen to that one, right? So you want to have more than one. You want to create indestructible streams of income, right? So what happens if another pandemic hits? What happens if the economy disrupts, even though it's already disrupting? What happens if it continues to disrupt? What happens if the market just essentially explodes, right? And it goes down very, very fast. What happens if there's another war? Okay, what happens if your business gets destroyed or disrupted because of technological advances? What happens if Airbnb shuts you down? You've got to be prepared, and the way to have that is through having a portfolio of multiple streams of income. That is the key, the real key to wealth building, ladies and gentlemen. Financial wealth building, competence, confidence, and stress-free life. No stress is to develop and build multiple flows of income. Indestructible to economic conditions or technological developments. Repeatable, recurring every single month, and passive so that you set them up one time and they continue to bring you cash flow, continue to create wealth, continue to create net worth in your life and your business. So today, first, I'm going to talk about the common mistakes investors make when building a portfolio or getting a portfolio of properties in a short-term rental industry. Okay, so mistake number one. Okay, so mistake number one most investors make is they never commit to building more flows. They never commit to building multiple streams of income. They literally just get comfy with the one, and they think that that one is going to really create the wealth that they're desiring, the lifestyle, the freedom, but it's not true, right? So mistake number two, they walk away from the first flow or the first property in order to build a second one. So for example, that means that you create a property and then you walk away from your first property before you have tested and tweaked it to perfection, before you've established it on the market so that it continues to bring you cash flow every month. And even in the low seasons and the mid seasons, you have literally learned every single strategy needed in order to maintain it, right? In order for this property or this flow to really create the income that you really desire, depending on your goal, basically, right? Mistake number three is doing the wrong business model. Okay, so I'm going to be upfront with you guys. When I launched my short-term rental business, I just wanted to build something quickly, right? Even though I made money with these apartments, I shouldn't have done it. Okay, so we built a portfolio of 35 apartment units and about 2-3 houses. This is about 2 years ago. We were at our high capacity and we were operating very, very in town with lots of units and movement. The problem with that portfolio was the wrong business model, right? It was the wrong business model, but it was the right one at the time, but it was the wrong business model when I wanted to scale. Because when you scale, right, you're going to have more expenses. So you really have to create a flow or flows that have high profit margins, higher sweet spots. Okay, we're going to talk about that in just a second. So in this wrong business model building, like, which is mistake number 3, I want to talk about a little bit about the 3 different types of short-term rental markets, right? There are 3 types of markets. Okay, in your head, think about 3 different ways to do short-term rentals. And then inside those 3 ways, there are lots of property types, okay? Market number 1 is your metro market. That's your city, and then your city surrounding your main city, okay? And you have regional drive-in markets, which are regional vacation rental markets, and these vacation rental markets are dependent mostly on tourism, right? And then you have fly-out markets. These fly-out markets, they're dependent only on tourism, and then you have to fly. So some examples of metro markets are going to be Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, right? Houston, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, great short-term rental markets, but with a lot of flow and supply increase, right? Regional drive-in markets would be like Galveston, Texas, Clearwater Beach, right? And then fly-out markets would be examples of Hawaii, Aspen, Colorado, the Rocky Mountains, and stuff like that, right? Where you have to fly in order to actually access. So the first metro markets, what happens when the economy disrupts? Your metro markets actually are the steadiest. The second steadiest and the second most consistent are going to be your regional vacation rental markets, and then your least are going to be your fly-out markets. We invest in metro and regional. We don't invest in fly-out yet. Might, but it just depends how everything goes with with the process of our investment strategy over the next 6 months or so. But there are also 10 types of properties inside those 3 models, right? When you have an investment strategy and you're creating your strategy from metro markets, let's say, right? Like we've done a lot of our business here in the Houston metro area, and then we've gone to cities around Houston. So you have all types of properties. You have condos, you have homes, you have different types of single family homes, you have apartment buildings, you have townhouses, right? You have high rises. And in the vacation rental markets, you have beach houses. And these beach houses could be, within driving to the beach or lakefront or waterfront. And then you have your different types of design. So when creating a portfolio, my experience has been always gearing towards, first of all, figuring out what works for you, right? And then second, doing more of what works for you, okay? And then continue to grow it that way. The mistake number 4 that most investors make when building a short-term rental portfolio is acquiring the wrong type of property in the wrong market. Right. So if I was to advise someone today, if they were going to ask me, hey, should I acquire a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom in, let's just say, Phoenix, Arizona, I would tell them absolutely not, because there are a lot of supply increase. And the number 1 supply increase is the supply has increased double in Phoenix, Arizona for the 1 and 2 bedrooms versus the supply for, like, let's say, the 5 and 6 bedrooms. Right. So if you go into the wrong market at the wrong time, right, and you get the wrong type of property, you could think you're going to make money, but you can go and really not build anything because your sweet spot, your gap, right, is smaller. Meaning what you're paying for the property versus what your PITI, right, what you're paying for the property every single month versus your income per month, your average gross revenue per month, right? There's not a whole lot of gap, right? We call that the sweet spot. We call that the gross rent multiplier, right? And you've really got to focus. We focus essentially on actually building that sweet spot rather than looking at buying a property at larger, deeper discounts. Even though we can and we still do, our focus is creating the biggest gap right? That's called your arbitrage. That's called your sweet spot. And that is your margins. The larger the gap between your PITI and your average monthly gross, the better you're going to perform, the higher margins are going to be, right? So when we do our reverse engineering acquisition strategy, we find out exactly which market is working best, right? And within that market, we find a sub-market, which could be a smaller city up north or south or whatever, or maybe a niche or an area or zip code. And then we find a micro market. I call a micro market literally just a little, maybe even a zip code or a street that has more demand than its surroundings. It could be 4 or 5 properties that are really, really more profitable. It could be any type of properties, but sometimes you have demand in certain areas, and we call those green areas, like green light, right? Go there and invest. And this could be, necessarily because there's a new build out there, there's some new neighborhoods, or a hospital is being built there, right? Or the regulations are more strict, which strict regulations can be good, right? We don't have many regulations here in Houston, Texas, so things have really increased. But if you know what you're doing, you can still make lots of money in a market like Houston, Texas, right? So now, why build a portfolio, George, instead of just doing 1-2 properties? I'm going to give you guys 6 reasons to why building a portfolio rather than just doing 1 or 2 properties. Okay, reason number 1. It takes the same amount of energy, time to build and run a business with 3 properties than to build a business with 10 properties. Literally the same amount of time. And then I could even say resources, because the way that I'm going to give you a perspective and belief shift about building 2-3 properties today, it's actually, it's going to give you an aha and a breakthrough, okay? So if you're building a business with 3 properties, you're going to have to hire cleaning teams. You're going to have to, right, get lenders. You're going to have to hire somebody to help you if needed. You're going to have a front desk, right? But when you have 10 properties, you can actually hire and have enough margins to hire somebody to help you manage them if you want to build your inside team, or hire somebody to partner with, right? So that you can create a passive lifestyle business. And my whole perspective on this has shifted from, hey, I want to get cash flow, right? And this is also, as we've grown, to more like, hey, I love the cash flow. I want to get even more cash flow, but I want to also create wealth. I want to also be able to create freedom. And if you do it through building 1 stream at a time, right? 1 stream at a time. Reason number 2, okay? You don't have to rely on a job or 1 single stream of income, okay, that if you are working in your day job, if you're a real estate investor who is landlording their own properties, okay, and then you've got a portfolio of 10 and you're landlording your own properties, and you're making $400, $500, $600 a month, right, in your rent, that is a job, okay? If you build a portfolio of 5, 10, 8, 10 properties in this short-term rental model that I'm talking to you guys about, which is the median size house, median turned into luxury, call it median luxury, call it 6-figure property, then you can create enough freedom. And I'm gonna show you exactly how. Okay, so, but if you rely on 1 stream of income, that could dissipate and disappear at any point. Okay, there might be a pivot. The Airbnb might have this thing, or, like maybe the area gets saturated or the restrictions change. So why only depend on 1? Your family depends on you. Your family is depending on those streams of income. So when creating streams of income, I always think of, like, I want to build more, but I want to make sure that I've got the right strategy from the get-go. Right. And again, you pivot as you go, right? If you make mistakes, and it is very painful to make all the mistakes, right? And essentially to go through, like, figuring out, like we did, right? We have gone through figuring things out and learning from our own experience in different areas, every type of property in our business. And we were taking the cream of the crop and teaching it to our clients, sharing it here, right, in our groups, launching it in our courses, discussing it and having our investors invest in our fund. So you have to rely on more streams of income. It is the best way to take care of your family. Reason number 3, building indestructible sources of income, right? If you actually build a portfolio and then you do it in the right strategy, right, with the right type of properties and in the right market, then that is a proven model. Those properties will last you for years and years to come, right? And then when you buy something and it creates cash flow and it's high yielding cash flow, you don't have to worry so much about, hey, do I have cushion in there to be able to like sell the property like if it doesn't work, right? You don't have to do that because you literally are building that equity on the front end rather than the back end. Now, can you as an investor be precautious? Can you as an investor make sure, George, why would I buy a property that makes you, $3,000-$4,000 a month, but buy it retail? Because in 6, 7 a year, you can create a lot more cash flow. And then it also depends on your goal, right? You can create a lot more cash flow than you could if you actually went and rehabbed that one property and stay there for 4, 5, 6 months. I'm not telling you that rehabbing is bad. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do it. All I'm saying is you can mix it up. You can mix things up a little bit, right? You can mix things up because boom, you get a cash flowing asset and it starts cash flowing immediately fast today, right? Within 30 days, we make all of our properties cash flow, right? So reason number 4, short-term rentals are a proven asset class. They've been around for a lot of years. Just because Airbnb came in 2008 and disrupted this industry, Airbnb is just the platform, the number one platform that we use as our marketing, right? And then you should too. You should use Airbnb. You should use VRBO, Booking.com, and any other marketing platforms that can help you get full, right? Filled up in your occupancy. But you shouldn't always depend on just Airbnb or just VRBO, right? We work with insurance relocation companies. We have now direct bookings, right, in our platform, right? We work with Airbnb, we work with VRBO, and we're adding Booking.com, right? We're launching Facebook ads. So it's an asset class that has been proven year over year, and it's not going anywhere. It is a growing industry, growing at a rate of 5 to 10% a year in the United States and probably even faster worldwide. Reason number 5 of why build a short-term rental portfolio instead of just having 1 or 2 properties, it preserves the capital, and you can never lose your money because you have a high-yielding cash-flowing asset. Right, you're going to preserve capital when you buy it. Your property goes up and appreciates, right? And then you're going to preserve capital, right? And then you're going to have a high yielding cash flowing asset. Okay. Reason number 6, the beautiful part about real estate is that assets appreciate in value. They're going to appreciate, they're going to depreciate, and then that's going to create tax advantages on your depreciation. We use a spendthrift trust, a special copyrighted trust where we own all of our assets and we defer our taxes, right? We also are able to reduce the principal. It's called principal reduction, right? Or equity. We reduce the principal in our assets in just a few years. Our net worth has gone over 7 figures from just a few 8, 9 properties that we own, right? Not from the ones we rent and do rental arbitrage, just from the properties that we own. And that is in just 3, 4 years. Each property is boom, 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 because they appreciate, right? So because they appreciate and they also depreciate, which could be very advantageous. Real estate is the best way to create wealth, ladies and gentlemen, the number 1 way to create wealth. So people ask me, George, how many properties do you consider to build an STR portfolio, right? So, and then people might think, okay, well, do I have to build? Do I have to like go buy a bunch of properties? Does it need to be 10, 15, 20 properties? Not necessarily, right? And I say, this depends on your goal. Is your goal to create $5,000 in net cash flow per month, right? Is your goal to do 2,000? Is it 3,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 15, $20,000? It just depends on your goal. So, and it also depends on your living expenses. Some people live at lower means than others, right? So you've got to ask yourselves those two questions before you make a decision, right? So in my opinion, for us, 5 properties is enough, right? And we've got a lot more than that, but 5 properties, if you ask me, would be enough for just about anybody, right? So let me give you an example. You buy a medium luxury property, or some medium property, turn it into a nice little thing, right? And then that nice little cash flowing asset. And this property in the low end, like if you suck, if you are not trained by an expert, if you don't have pricing strategy, if you go to the wrong market, and if you pick like most people are good at like seeing what type of property, right? And then you're going to do like your surface research. Oh yeah, maybe I should go buy a property with a pool or something. Let's say you just go to like any market, right? Like just say Houston, Texas, you pick a pool property and then you launch it. You just put some furniture in there, right? You're going to make maybe $2,000 a month, right? With this type of property, $2,000 net, right? And okay, $2,000 times 12 months, that's 24K. That's pretty good, right? That's probably 4 times more than my landlord friends make, right? No offense to my landlord friends, but I've been long gone from that strategy, right? And that's the number one reason why. Because with SDRs, if you know what you're doing, you can create massive amounts of cash flow, right? And it's long term, right? And then if you make enough, right? On the high end, let me just give you an average. You could average 4,000, 5,000, right? Our highest yielding properties average about $6,000 to $9,000 net per month, right? Low months, obviously, you're going to be like 3,000, 4,000 net. 5 months, we've gone as high as 16,000 with one property. Now, we are very, very experienced people. We've done this in all types of markets with our clients and in all types of assets, and essentially we've got clients all over the US. So we know what works and what doesn't. So, but if you make $5,000, $6,000 a month, you cannot do that with a long-term rental. You cannot do that with an actually apartment complex of 25 units, right? A 25 unit apartment complex is going to yield you about $150 cash flow per property. Now, I do I'm not knocking commercial down by any means. I love commercial. I will get in flip, right? These actual I'm gonna flip some apartments, in 3 to 5 years, right? And then they're great for appreciation because rents go up all the time, right? And that's the part I love about commercial real estate, about multifamily. It is that you can literally do nothing, right? And then sit down and in 3 to 5 years, flip this, sell it to somebody else, and make quite a bit of money, right? And that is millions of dollars. Now, with short-term rentals, and this is a median luxury model, single family, you can actually get the cash flow up front. Now, your appreciation can vary, but high yielding, that's the difference. High yielding between short-term rentals and any other asset class. High yielding cash flow assets. Okay, so let's talk about 3 ways to build a small SDR portfolio, right? And we just went over how many properties do you need to make to build a portfolio. How many properties should I really, go for? 3 to 5 is good enough. We call it 5 houses to freedom. It is truly that number, right? Because if each property makes you 2,000 on the low end and you suck, right? Net cash flow every month, that's 10 grand a month. If you are good and you literally work with somebody, or you've made all the mistakes and been through the painful, expensive process of learning how to launch and scale a portfolio, then if you're making $5,000 net per property, then right, that's $25K a month. Anybody could live with $25K a month in today's economy, even though inflation is crazy up, right? So let's talk about 3 ways to build a small portfolio. Number 1, compound profits secrets. Okay, Albert Einstein said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it, right? We practice and preach that. George says STR compound profits are the ninth wonder of the world. Okay, so let me give you guys some examples. Okay, property one, right? This is example number one. So compound interest, compound profits secrets, okay? So not compound interest is completely different thing, but compound profits. So let's just say you want to go for one property right now, okay? So make sure you guys write this down if you have a piece of paper, right? So you start with 50K, right? So now you've either got to figure out how to get to 50K, right? You're going to need 50K, but I'm going to tell you why and how, okay? And then you're going to need 25,000 for staging. That's $75,000. You start with 50K, okay? And then how can you get to 50K? Number one, it could be your own money. Number two, it could be private money from investors. Number three, it could be professional money, lines of credit, terms, loans, unsecured loans, whatever, right? So you need 75K to get a property. So the first thing you do is you acquire the property with a 10% down loan, okay? That, let's just say it's a $400,000 house, okay? And then you focus on the sweet spot, not the purchase price, right? Obviously, you got to be under 400,000. You focus on the sweet spot, meaning, will this 400K property bring me at least 25% of my purchase price? Your gap, right? So in today's actual interest rate, you're going to be paying for a $400,000 property, maybe like $3,000 in PITI. Okay, let's give you that example just to be on the even side. So if this property brings me, it has $3,000 PITI, that's $36,000 a month. And if this property brings me, let's just say, $96,000 net gross rental income. So what is that, right? So you take 96,000, you divide it by 36,000, so that's about 2.5, right? Please let me know exactly if you guys are on there, and then we have a group in Zoom here. If you could divide that, I would appreciate that. But in my head, it's about 2.5, right? 2.5. So that's 2.5. Your PITI. That's on the low end, right? On the low end. So you take the 96,000 and then you take 36,000. So that's 60K that you have left, right? So this particular property, if you come in and obviously at first you've got to do the work, right? You've got to really get on that grind and then work your butt off. If you come in and essentially get this property, you make 60K net, and now you have after the 60K, let's say you have 40K, right? So if you have 40K left, right? What you're going to do is you're going to take that actual loan that you took, right? So you essentially took a loan, right? And then now you've got a $400,000 loan or $350,000 loan, and then you're creating $40,000 net income per year. Okay, so you take that, you stage and launch the property. A year later, you made $40,000. Okay. That 40,000 is going to be about the down payment for another property. Okay, so that's year one. So your target income should be at least $50,000 net when you're acquiring these types of property. Okay, so that's about $3,500-ish, almost $4,000 per month, right? So in order to do that, you've got a revenue somewhere around $8,000, just 96, right? In order to get 50% profits, right? So, and then you've got, you can't hire a management company with this model that I'm actually sharing with you right now, right? You could, but you're gonna make less percentage at the end, right? So you take the 40,000, and in year two, let's just say month 13 and 15, you take the 40,000, you borrow another 35 with the strategies I mentioned above, right? So that's second, right? So you've got two loans, right? So you've got the two loans up front, but you've got two unsecured loans, right? Two professional loans. Now you have 75, right? Again, so you're going to take the 40K in year 12. So in year 13 and 15, you have 75K after you've taken a $35,000 loan. Now you've got a down payment. You do the same thing with this property, right? You do the same thing. You put a down payment for 10% of that. That's 40K. And then you take 25 to 35,000 to stage and make this property beautiful, right? Obviously, there's some closing costs as well. So that's month 13 to 15. Now, let's go to property 3. We're in year 3 now, month 25 to 27, okay? Now you have two properties making you about $40,000 net profit per year. You're going to take that, you're going to borrow zero, right? And then you're going to acquire a third property, right? You're going to take that 2 properties. You're in year 3, month 25 to 27 from today. That's if you didn't do anything else. All you did is you did 1 property and you compounded the profits. Okay. You're going to take that 80K and you are going to put a down payment for another second home vacation rental loan, right? Which is a 10% loan, right? So, and then you're going to acquire a third property. Then you repeat. Now you have 3 properties bringing you $40,000 net. That's $120,000 at the end of months, about 3 years, right? So about 36 months, 37 to 39, right? So, which now takes us into year 4. In year 4, you are going to take that 120,000, and then essentially now, if you do 120,000, you could do more, you could do less, right? You're going to borrow in year 4. You're going to borrow $30,000, and then you're going to acquire 2 more properties in year 4, which put you into a 5 property portfolio, each bringing you around $40,000 at the end of year 5. Okay, so you could do this part-time. You could do this in the afternoons. You could do this on the weekends, right? You could do this if you have 30 landlord long-term rentals and you want to just get 1 at a time, right? This is not a full-time gig unless you're trying to get 3, 4, 5 at the same time, right? So in 5 years, you can have 5 properties making you $40,000 on average cash flow per property, right? So 5 years, 40,000, that's way 1. Second way, it's private money secrets. There's a couple ways to do private money, guys, right? So number 1 is unsecured private money loans. Done a bunch of them, right? Find an investor who can loan you an unsecured loan at 10 to 12%, right? 2 to 5 year term, right? And then you need just a couple documents for that. You need an unsecured promissory note and you need a loan schedule. That's it. Real simple. Obviously, the person has to trust you to do an unsecured loan, right? And you've got to have a relationship, and that's why it's always great to build relationships, right, in your network with your people, right? And so that you can essentially go out there and when you are ready to go raise private money. Okay, so in this opportunity or in this type, when you do a private loan, the way you structure, they wouldn't own any of your assets. They would essentially just loan you, and you pay them 10 to 12% interest only, and then you are collecting, right? You're saving some of this money to pay them back, or you pay them at sell. Depends how you structure your promissory note, right? Typically, I structure mine at sell. So when we sell, let's just say a term is 5 years. That note will allow them to collect their $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 when we sell the property. So that's one way. That's unsecured private money. Okay. Now you have secured private money. Okay. And when you have a secure private money loan, it's very similar, but in this case, the investor wants more security. And this is for those of you who have never done it and don't have a big track record, right? And haven't really done this many loans. So they're going to want some security. So you're going to find an investor that's going to loan you on a second lien, right? They're going to put a lien in your property and at the same rate, 10 to 12%. Right, and you're going to negotiate a 2 to 5 year term. You want to go 5 years because that's a good cycle, right? You want to go 5 years because in 5 years your property will definitely appreciate. 2 years might be a little sooner, right? You need just a couple of documents for that. You need a secure promissory note, right? And then you need a lien filed with the county, and then the title company will do that for you. They'll build a promissory note for like $125, right? And then they'll file a lien with the county for about $27. Okay, done them, both of them. And we've got deals going. We've got a fund coming. We do this all day, every single day. Number 3, right? Partnership. Okay, so in a partnership, you find an investor who will partner with you. Now they have to trust you a lot more because, right, they're going to go in bed with you, right? And nobody gets married to anyone that they don't trust like love, right? So they're going to go in bed, they're going to marry you. So you are going through that cycle, right? First, it's like that secured private money, and then there's the unsecured, and then the partnership, right? So partnership comes third, right? So you find a partner who wants to partner with you, 3 to 5 year deal, partnership agreement, and or a joint venture. That's it. Those are the documents you need. You don't need any cash, right? You don't need any credit if you don't want to put anything up, right? You're literally going to create a joint venture agreement. It's called a real estate joint venture, right? Which ties up the partnership, right? So they would put down and put their name on the loan, right? And then you would have an agreement that would tie your entity to theirs, right? And then obviously would tie the property. The property would be inside that joint venture, right? Or it would be in their name, right? So in their company name. And then that joint venture agreement ties you in the property won't be in your name, but the joint venture agreement ties you legally, and they cannot go and sell it, right? Because you can take them to court and collect on that, right? So that's one way. Now, a safer way, right? I've done joint ventures as well, by the way, and they're easy, right? They're easy, so they're not that complex, right? So I've done joint ventures in a way that, right, we've tied different properties, different LLCs together, and you don't have to go and borrow, put your cash, put your credit. A joint venture agreement, legally well done, will actually have its own EIN, right? You'll be able to create a bank account with the joint venture agreement. So joint ventures could be strong. I've got several joint venture agreements. Like one is 16, 15 pages. The other ones I've got 6, 7 pages, right? So I can do it many different ways. The other way to do it is LLC or in an operating agreement, right? So in this, basically you negotiate what type of partnership will split. There's no security document in this LLC, and neither in the joint venture, right? You could add a security document in that joint venture because your property wouldn't be on your name, right? Now, if you buy subject to, for example, like, which is a subject to the mortgage, and you take over someone's payments, right? Then the property could be in both of your names. And if you do it the other way, right? If you get a loan and put down, 10%, then that has to be done in a person's name. It cannot be in that LLC, right? And then you could deed that over. Like you literally could deed it over with a couple documents, a note assignment and a bill of sale. Okay, so let's go back to the partnership with an LLC, right? A partnership with an LLC will not require a security document because you are going in bed. You both are giving your name and information to be tied legally together in an entity structure called a limited liability corporation. Okay, and that has an operating agreement that dictates what goes in an operating agreement. Usually those are standards. Mine are about 50 to 70 pages, right? And then I work with a firm called Anderson Advisors to create mine. I've got the unlimited LLCs with this Anderson Advisors firm. We also work with Prime Corporate Services. Our clients work with them, right? And then we have our trust. So we can't do everything in our trust. If you can't do a partnership in our trust, right? But we can do all our trust actually owns all of the membership interest in our LLCs. And as we move our assets to the trust or make the trust owner, right? And that's how we actually get the trust to defer all of our taxes, which is a completely different subject. So that is the third way, which is a partnership model, right? On how to build a portfolio, right? If you guys are finding this helpful, please let me know. Give me a hell yeah, right? So I've gone over different ways to build actual portfolios, right? I've gone through private money secrets. I've gone through partnerships. I've gone through unsecured money, secured money. I've showed you guys how to actually do compound profits, right? Which are beautiful. We talked about reasons of exactly why build a portfolio. And then we've gone over common mistakes that most investors make when building a portfolio. So if you guys find this helpful and want more videos like this, please let me know why. Because we have something pretty amazing coming for you, okay? And I'm gonna talk about it in just a second. Basically, I have the most incredible free gift ever for all of you watching today and anyone who watches the replay, right? Not only I'm going to give you the actual recording of this, right, inside a membership vault, but I'm also going to give you a trial of our newest STR Secrets Platinum membership. Okay, we launch this next week. So if you guys want to be part of this, I'm going to give it to you for free. Okay, our STR Secrets Platinum membership comes out on the 16th. I'm extremely excited to announce that. So if you guys want this and want the membership for free, please drop me the hashtag STR Secrets now. All right. So if you want this membership and you want it for free, please drop me STR Secrets hashtag STR Secrets now. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually drop you the membership. Now, this membership will have every single actual live stream we've done here in the group, right? Because we've deleted a lot of them, right? We put them in order. Every single membership, and it's going to have a ton of other bonuses that you probably have never seen, right? We have secured some really cool resources from some of our partners on private money, on business funding, on business credit that no one has ever seen in our community. And we're going to be pretty much giving you all of it for free. So let me know, and I hope that was extremely valuable today, guys. Let me know if you guys want this STR Secrets Platinum membership for free. It comes out next week. And I hope you found everything today valuable. I hope this serves you. And I give you some cool ideas. I don't know if you could tell, but this stuff excites me. I love real estate. I love actually sharing, right, what I've learned over the last 4.5 years, the mistakes I've made. So I hope that you that this is really hitting up here, and then you guys are learning something from it. Okay. So we'll see you soon. We'll see you next week. And please hashtag STR Secrets now. Let's go.